Hello, good afternoon and welcome. I'm very pleased to be joined by Jans Vrins, who is a partner in Guidehouse. So welcome, Jans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
So we've had a lot of discussions with Day One World Hydrogen Week. We've had a lot of discussions around derivatives. We've had a lot of views. We had a good debate from the American and European perspectives. You're obviously responsible globally for a lot of Guidehouse's sustainability initiatives and advising clients across a multitude of projects, but you are based in the US and stuff. So maybe what are you seeing as the different approaches and some of the challenges globally around hydrogen and rolling out the projects and getting them to FID?
Yeah, sure. It's very interesting because I have these discussions a lot. I'm obviously originally from the Netherlands, but spend a lot of time in the US now. In essence, the issues that we're trying to solve are very similar. So although the pace at which and the specifics of how we implement these solutions are different, but the issues are very, very similar. So I think there's a lot of things that we can learn from both sides. For a long time, Europe has definitely led the way. As Guidehouse, we've been doing hydrogen work for the last 10 years. And now the US with the two new pieces of legislation are really playing catch up, which is great because I think this is a global market ultimately that we need to create together. So for me, it's not about Europe versus the US. It's a healthy competition. It's always good to have a healthy competition. But what we're seeing now in the US is the investments that are being made there by the federal government are really accelerating things and putting things in place. The biggest challenge, in the end, I think will be infrastructure. I think we'll get to the price point. I think the technologies are here. I think policies and regulations will be put in place over time. But the biggest issue is how do we create, infrastructure, because that ultimately is needed to create these global markets. And right now we don't have hydrogen markets, so we're starting now with these smaller regional hubs, which is exciting as well. And then we need to build the infrastructure. That's going to take time. And unfortunately, we don't have much time. So as we build the gas infrastructure over decades, decennia, and we don't have that time for hydrogen infrastructure. So we're going to need to accelerate that and see how we can do that.
Right. And when you refer to infrastructure, you're talking specifically about infrastructure to help movement, help hydrogen perform as an energy vector. So you're talking pipelines and terminals and ships.
Yeah, talking about midstream pipelines, talking about terminals. The ships themselves is not a big thing, but we need to have more terminals. And then we've done studies in Europe, and we're doing similar study now in the US how we can reuse the existing gas infrastructure. But also that will take time. You just don't transition that within a few years. I think that the midstream transition, pipeline transition in Europe will go faster because I think gas will be reduced much faster than in the US. So from that perspective, I see Europe really leading again with a hydrogen backbone that will be in place quicker than in the US. On the other hand, I see the US now taking a lead role in terms of these regional hubs and putting a lot of money in there from the federal government, but also private sector and energy, the energy sector. So different timing, but the same solutions in the end. We need the hubs and we need the midstream pipelines and the terminals so we can ship the hydrogen from parts of the world where we produce it to parts of the world where we need it.
And in terms of the complexity, and we've just had 2 days of the World Hydrogen Derivatives Summit. Obviously, we've got a lot of different derivatives, and people are saying different derivatives are useful for different end applications, but that's just another layer of complexity when you start thinking about actually moving those molecules when you're talking about different molecules. So comparatively simple when you were moving LNG, but a lot more complex and a lot more difficult to achieve scale when you're talking about methanol and ammonia and potentially liquid nitrogen or other alternatives.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but in the end, I think, as I said before, the technology will evolve quickly to support that, and we've seen advancements now where I think people 2 years ago didn't thought that was possible. So I think technology will be there to support the different types of fuels. There will be some that are more scalable than others. There will be some that will be more used at the local level, so they don't go into the midstream or even in the global transportation system, if you will. But I'm not afraid of that. I think those technical issues will solve them.
Yeah. Excellent. And any thoughts about the event itself? Is it your first time here?
Yeah, it's a great event. First time here. I arrived yesterday in the Netherlands, visited my mom last night. I'm here today, which is really cool. One of my colleagues mentioned to me that 2 years ago this event was like half the size, so it's exciting to see the growth. It's exciting to see the diversity of the participations and the different tracks. I've listened to some of the sessions this morning, really excited, and I'm going to chair the session tomorrow, so that will be tomorrow morning, so that will be good as well.
Yeah, it definitely will be good. So many thanks for taking the time out to chat to me, and thanks a lot for your support of the event. So we look forward to your sessions and seeing the advice and continued support you provide the industry. So many thanks.
Thank you, sir.